Hey there, hi there, ho there. Hello, hello, hello. Hello. I am your faithful leader, Andy Malfrina. With me, as always, is no one. I'm running solo today. This is monitoring the situation, as which I should throw out there because I know there's like a podcast or something called. Like I feel like here. Wait, let me double check it because I feel like I gotta fix the mustache. That's rough. Yeah, I think if I go check in YouTube or Google monitoring the situation podcast. Hey, Dunbeezy in the chat. Yeah, there is a podcast. There is a podcast called Monitoring the Situation, which I am admittedly jealous. Let's give them a little shout out actually, to be respectful. I am a little jealous that they got to the name. It's God damn it. It's like because like naming a pod is so fucking hard. Giving a podcast like a good name is so fucking hard. So when you like actually find one, like Drag the Lake's a good name, but I gotta like explain to people why it's good. And like Panties is a fun name. I don't know if it's a good name, but Panties is a fun name. You know, because I think it helps prolong the lineage of funny three guy podcasts with insane names. Like that's like my argument for Panties is like, which I don't know. It's why the podcast needs to get more popular so we can expose people as phonies. Because I feel like certain people don't do Panties because of the name. And it's like, I know all you guys would do Cumtown back, but we're not Cumtown. So that's the problem. Obviously, we're not Cumtown. I'm not trying to say we're fucking Cumtown. But yeah, we're not Cumtown. So they're not going to do the pod. But if we were Cumtown, they wouldn't hesitate to do the pod. But yes, all love to the sorry, I'm tweeting out this link. Sorry, Big Red had a couple big drinks last night. Dude, it was funny. I was literally like hanging out last night. BK Chris is in town, so we hung the fuck out. And I was like, just don't do any shots. Because that's where my night shift. If I do I only did one shot. Okay. I only did one shot. But it completely altered the evening. It like got me going. And then I kept it moving from there. But yes, so I'm a little groggy. I'm on my third cup of coffee. It's good stuff. Dude, BK Chris fucked my ass up. Fuck my ass. No, he dude, it was so it was like crazy how he immediately knew what I was gonna be like insecure about. Cause I was like, I'm excited to see Chris. And then I go down and then monitoring. Oh yeah, that's when we watch porn. Monitoring the situation. Very good, Dunbar. Very good. That also is another thing I've just freely stolen from Lemon Party. I love it. It's because here's my thing. I don't view it as stealing. I view it as like, I don't know. I guess it is stealing, but it is sort of like it's more an homage because it's like there's certain things that are just so so useful in daily conversation that if someone just hits a joke like that, just being like, very good, seems appropriate. So I think when something has that high level of utility, it goes past being, it's not Lemon Parties anymore. It's everyone's now. That's my argument, at least. Oh, dude, I wanted to watch this trailer. We're going to watch some Reggie Watch shit in a second because that situation has been very interesting. But I saw this trailer for this game called Zoopunk.
Ready? Let's go save the world.
No. I'm gonna smash this rotten world into pieces.
I've got you!
We're about to risk our lives here.
Is this the only way across?
Bratton, toss me there.
Get out of Marviter Village!
Quit already. You can't even beat the rabbits.
Hands off, Trixie!
Enough!
It's a no! No! That's enough! It's lazy! Break and fight! Where's the fight?
Partisans, stand united! To arms!
Hand over the spark!
Come and get me!
This, the hope of the world?
Yeah, that actually looked kind of fucking sick. Sorry, I wasn't paying as close attention because I realized I already watched this already. I already watched this already. In my house here. I was sitting on the couch watching it, not to brag or nothing. But I already watched it, is the word on the street, and I gotta be honest, I like the vibe of it. There's something about it. Like there's something about it being like animals that makes it like I don't know. There's certain games that I don't like want to get into just because they seriously. I have like a weird thing about that where it's like the game some of these games ask too much of you. They ask for like too high of a level to get like emotionally invested. And it might be like a weird insecurity thing I have where I go like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you think you're so fucking great? Like I'm supposed to, but at the same time, it's like, but no, that's like I don't know. I think it might be because games aren't like my main thing. Like I have more patience with that with music. Because I think music excites me a lot more in general than any other. Like I like all these forms of entertainment, but music's the form of entertainment that excites me the most. But even with music, even if because no, I'm thinking about it too. Because in music, a lot of times, like artists will get up their own, like just straight up their own ass, and like I've talked about it before. That's why I'm not like a huge fan of Kanye West, even though he's got some great opinions. And no, I honestly, that stuff just seemed like a guy acting out who wanted to also fucking keep himself culturally relevant and just wanted to see how far he could push things. I don't think he's actually a Nazi, but that shit didn't even actually like fucking bother me that much. It's like more the I am a god shit. It's like every time Kanye's doing anything, you have to be so fucking invested and you have to look at him like he's this fucking God's gift to earth. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't function like that anymore with shit. With any of this stuff anymore, where you have to like, you have to like fully, you don't just have to drink the Kool-Aid. You gotta like fucking chug it. You know what I mean? You gotta fucking chug it and douse yourself and bathe in the fucking Kool-Aid. I just want shit where they're like, yeah, we think this will be fun as fuck for you. You know what I mean? Like I like bands and musicians that are like, we just want to entertain people and have like write some cool songs and do shit like that. Not this fucking shit where it's like, we have to make it's all about me and my legacy and all that. It's like, dude, that's a you thing. That's a you thing I wish more people sort of like worried about that in private rather than making it such a fucking public thing. And it's like let other people write that story for you. I think too many people right now are writing like their own story. And I guess, I'm getting a little off track on talking about this video game, but it's why video games that don't seem to like take themselves super seriously are way more attracting to me. You know, it's the game. The game's like, hey man, if you're here or not, it's all good. We just think you'd really enjoy this fucking experience. You know, I don't want a game to make me and so there's something about when the game is like a fighting game with fucking animals and shit like that. There's something about it that like there's this level of not taking itself too seriously. You know, it's like because it's you go and it's like it's not even about the animals at that point. It's just the general structure of it. It shows me that there's going to be this more focus on just having fun, which I like, especially in fucking video games. Like I think video games, while they can be these, long, epic, playable movies or whatever the fuck, I think also too it just should be a way bigger focus on just having fun. And that's what I get from this trailer. I get a sense of like Zoopunk. They're not trying to like blow your fucking dick off. They're just trying to go like, yo, this is gonna be a good time. But which cause honestly too, the gameplay at the same time, I don't know if there's really anything out there besides this trailer. Oh, we got an extended gameplay trailer. Okay. So yeah, we just watched the GameCon trailer. This is the extended gameplay trailer.
Thinking is your job. Doing is mine.
That spark didn't come easy, Ray.
Yeah, a few bumps along the way.
I was also thinking about this too. It's like I get more out of this because there's no high. Like for me, I think the best shit is stuff that it's just like, yo, PA Kev, how you doing, brother? For me, I think the best shit is stuff that's just like, yo, we're just trying to entertain you, but we're also gonna like make everything that's going on real good. So like you're still gonna get sort of like depth. But I think like I like stuff where the depth is like created on its own through execution. There isn't. That's why, like I've joked about before. While I do enjoy Dune in more of the context of like the movies and stuff, when you read the book, there's so much like detail and heaviness that it's like, can we just get to the fucking story? You know what I mean? It's like it's too much curating your experience through this book and going, this is how you're supposed to feel about it. That's where a lot of this stuff, and that's why I personally like getting in on new shit because there's no like pre-established conception of how you're supposed to feel about it. You know what I mean? There's no pre-established conception of that. So you can just go into it with a clean slate. Like there's certain bands I know that are considered like top of the top, but it's just like there's so much, it's like there'll be a band like the Beatles are a great example. Although the tides are turning on the Beatles right now, but still the Beatles are a great example where if you go the Beatles suck, you don't really know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? If you say the Beatles suck, you're probably just being a hater. Now, and I think a lot of people are getting on board with this where it's like I think the greatness of them is highly over exaggerated. It's great music, but like there's that movie where everyone just forgot about the Beatles and then some Indian kid just knows every Beatles song and he becomes the greatest artist in the world. And this movie's set in like 2015 and you're like, that wouldn't happen. That wouldn't like if you just hit everyone with the Beatles right now, like they'd get popular, but you wouldn't just immediately be the great. Like a lot of the perception of bands like that is constructed by the record company or whoever. You know what I'm saying? But like there's still going to be a pushback on people being like, if you say the Beatles suck, there's still going to be a pushback on people who are like, no, they're the great. And the reason I like getting into newer shit is you can almost in like real time or shit that people aren't like passionate. Like if you get into too much shit that people are like passionately behind, it's like you can't have an honest conversation about it. Like us talking on us talking on panties about GTA 6. You know what I mean? Like Nate's and Lemaire's perspective. I'm like an impartial party. I don't get passionate about video games like that. It's not shitting on people who do. It's just that's not one of my things that I get that I like have a passionate unless people start shitting on Fortnite. Because I do think Fortnite's one of the greatest games ever made. And when people start shitting on Fortnite, Farwild, how you doing, brother? Once people start shitting on Fortnite, I go, you're looking at, because I also like that. That's also why I like this shit where it's like farm animals doing badass shit. Because it's like, you know, it reminds me, I used to be a big Jamie Kilstein fan back in the day, and I would listen to his podcast, Citizen Radio. And I remember they would always do this thing called the douchebag buffer, which a little pretentious, but they would like kind of bullshit the beginning of the pod that would sort of create, you know, sort of the annoying people, force them to put in an effort to get the actual meat of the podcast. And then you would get rid of those people. And there's like, which a little pretentious. It's like, I know for me, when I listen to a podcast, I don't know, actually. I was going to say sometimes when I'm checking out a new podcast for a specific topic, I get in there and I go, can you guys just get to it? But then other times I do love the casual open-aired vibe that a good podcast give. No, I think there's also a thing that happens a lot of time where, you know, like with Fortnite, you can sort of, if someone's telling you Fortnite sucks and all they focus on is like, it looks like a kid's game, you know, it's like, oh, okay. So you're not able to like walk and chew gum at the same time. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, you're just allowing aesthetics to completely like distract you from like actual gameplay and stuff like that. And it's like, I feel like there's a similar thing with this Zoopunk game where it's like, you know, there is something about like just adding little layers like this that sort of keep the wrong people away in a sense. That sounds super pretentious, but it's how I feel.
But I got it.
You really fixing to gamble with it?
1 for 5, it's worth a shot.
Are you worried something might go wrong?
Wrong. I'm counting on it.
You know what I'm realizing? This is why I like games like Borderlands so much. Is like the aesthetic matters to me. I don't want to play a game that takes itself too fucking seriously. It's why I've never been a fan of shit that's all like medieval and shit like that. You know, a lot of those like dark, I mean, they're hard as shit. That's also another part, but like Dark Souls and Elden Ring and stuff like that. A lot of those games and Bloodborne, while they're the sickest fucking games, there's also there's a thing about them where they take themselves very seriously. And it's like, I prefer a little more tongue in cheek in my entertainment than games like that. So again, it's why stuff like, and then also too, the gameplay of this looks sick.
It's mine now. Finish him. Give it back!
Walked right in himself, huh?
It's all yours now, boss.
Good work. Now with this, even the Machine Legion doesn't stand a chance against me.
That sounds like Josh Brolin, dude. Yeah, right? Doesn't this look fun as shit? The vibe of it is also too, it makes me think of Star Fox with the animals. And I think there's part of me that just enjoys that aesthetic because of growing up loving Star Fox. Oh no, is this for Xbox only? No. Oh wait, no, it said earlier it was for PlayStation 2.
What? Huh? Come to Papa!
Right on time! Miss me?
Gotta hand it to you this time, Ray.
If Tron hadn't planned ahead and sent us as backup, you'd be done for.
Mission done? Let me take a look.
All accounted for. What's next?
It's time to save Torch City.
Hell yeah. That actually looks pretty fucking sick. I don't know. Something about that game's like standing out to me. I keep seeing like previews and stuff for it, and it just looks fucking dope. I think it's gonna be good. I do want to check it the fuck out. Yeah. Is there anything else going on for it? Feels like that's like the main previews and shit going on. Yeah. Looks like there's not a shitload. I mean, people have been making lots of trailer or lots of reels and stuff. Yeah, that looks sick, dude. That looks fucking sick. I think it's gonna be fun. I kind of want it. All right. Let's see what's going on with Reggie Watts. I do want to learn more about this situation. My first initial
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Fry Plantain.
my first initial. So if you guys don't know what's going on with the Reggie Watts situation, basically he had a girlfriend. Reggie Watts is super into he's heavy into like psychedelics and ketamine. And I'm not trying to say this in a way that like, I mean, I'm not, you guys know me, I'm not like a big into like that stuff. Hey, you going to Skankfest this year, bro? I'm not booked on it. I might still go though. I might still go, but maybe. I don't know. To be perfectly honest, I don't know. I got like other things going on, and it's like not been the main thing I've been worried about. So I don't know if I'm going to Skankfest. I'm gonna try to. It's just I don't have money. I'm not booked on it. I don't know, like, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, so the Reggie Watts situation, if you guys aren't aware, and my like first initial sort of like feelings on it is if you're not aware, basically the short version is Reggie Watts had a girlfriend. Reggie Watts had a girlfriend. Reggie Watts is big into like ketamine and psychedelics, and she was like dabbling in the stuff, and then she started dating Reggie, and she got like heavy into it, and then I guess with doing the ketamine, she had like a psychological break or something like that. We'll get more detail in this video I want to watch, but yeah, she had like some sort of mental break, and then I guess they broke up, and then I want to say it was like 6 months to a year later she killed herself. And her family is basically like she was fine, and then they're basically putting all the blame on Reggie Watts. Which, and it was funny. I was talking to some people last night at the creek, and like a lot of people have the same like general opinion where it's like you ask most comics, they're like, yeah, Reggie Watts is like, they're like, I don't fuck with the guy. He's kind of annoying. You know, his whole because he represents that like fake smart guy bullshit where they have to like explain, they start rambling and it's all mumbo jumbo, but like, rather than it just being fucking, you know, like there's a way that like quote unquote smart guys relay information that's like confusing, but you're made to feel stupid for not understanding it, as opposed to like, I don't know if you're good at relaying information. So it's like that kind of shit with Reggie Watts. He has this like air of him where he's like, he has all these surface level smart guy indicators, but like never always the evidence to show for it. And also too with his like, and he's definitely, I don't hate on his music shit, but like there's people who go, no, this is like high level, like intelligent comedy. And you're like, hey man, I'm happy you're having fun. I've watched some of his stuff and enjoyed it. The beatboxing, it's fun. The looping, it's fun. Da 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 da. But it's like, this is more of a musical one-man show thing. This isn't comedy. It's you're not getting visceral reactions. Like, and I say this as a guy who, like, I was at speaking of Skankfest, I was at one of the like early Skankfest where Reggie Watts was like a surprise performer. And we watched his set, and it was enjoyable. It was a fun thing to watch. But was it like, were we like grabbing our sides laughing? Fuck no. And it's like, it's this thing that, and I get really annoyed by it because I'm such a big comedy fan and like a comedy purist. And there's this like weird thing where you take something that makes your reaction to it is, oh, and now that becomes, to a lot of people, that becomes the epitome of what, like, no, this is like smart comedy. I go, I don't know if it's smart. It's interesting, but like, I don't know, like, what about doing pedal board, beatbox, looping, disconjointed stream of consciousness? While it is interesting and entertaining, why is that magically like of higher intelligence? To me, it's just another thing to do. That part of it. It's this thing that like pretentious fans who want to feel like they're better than everyone else, they glob onto. It's this weird thing where it's like, oh well, this is actually really really hard to explain to people. That's why it's better. And I go, no, I think you just like it. You know what I mean? I think you enjoy it. But anyway, enough. I also do. I feel bad now. I hate overly criticizing other people's, other people's shit like that. But what are you saying here, PA Kev? If it was just using drugs with her, I don't think he should be dropped. Sounds like something that could happen to a lot of people. Yeah, and like that's a big thing that happens in a lot of these scenarios where the victim immediately loses all agency. And it's not to say that, like, I watched a clip. We can pull it up. Let me put it on deck. But yeah, there was like a clip where he was on with Rainn Wilson where, this one, it actually it looked kind of bad considering the current context, because I think Reggie Watts, we'll get into that. We'll get into that more. Yeah, because it's like I was watching that video too, and it's a lot of like Reggie Watts. It's a lot of Reggie Watt, like, because that's the other thing that annoys me with like the psychedelics and like the ketamine scene, where the way that they talk about this stuff, it's like it feels like they're doing something more important. It almost feels like they're trying to tell you they're doing something more important without actually saying that. And it's like, all you're really doing is, just living in your head all the time, which is fine. But it to me, again, it's similar to like Reggie Watts's art that he does, where it's like, it's not some like magical, oh no, this is actually peak comedy. It's like, no, it's just like another thing you could do. It's like saying like, oh, garage rock's actually way smarter than punk rock. And I go, not really. You can achieve both with the same skill set. One's just different. You know what I mean? Like one doesn't, I get a little more hung up on this kind of shit because it's always been like, it's my pet peeve with any of this stuff. I've always focused on like, okay, if we're talking comedy, the comedy I want to watch is the one that gives me the most direct visceral reaction. And then it's like, you get these pretentious people who don't know what they're fucking talking about, and they'll give you something that it makes you go, oh, and then they go, and I go, that's not, you know what I mean? That's not that they didn't do the job properly. It was an entertaining viewing, but they didn't do the job properly. You didn't get a visceral belly laugh out of me. You didn't do the job properly. So what's this fucking, like, why is that like, but for some reason it goes, no, it's actually smarter to make a comedy that doesn't make you laugh as hard. They always point to, it's like, I don't even hate this show as much, but like, they'll point to these comedies about why they're better. Like, and I like Bob's Burgers, but every time you talk to someone, I like Bob's Burgers a lot, actually. But every time someone points to why Bob's Burgers is better, it's always because, like, oh, they have these moments that, and then they explain something that has nothing, that isn't funny. It's the same thing with like BoJack Horseman. It's like, oh, it's such a funny show. It's like, is it? Is the show where the fucking horse does fucking 9-minute monologues about mental health? And it's just like, or is it just a pretentious way for the actors that create it to, like, make a whole show about their insecurities? It's like, and that's another thing with like art in general now. It's such a fucking, it's like, I don't know. Whenever I make this kind of stuff, I do it to entertain. I think everyone's doing their like, their own little art project. It's like when you walk in, I think about it a lot of times when you walk into certain restaurants here in Austin. Like, we walked into a pho place, and like everyone behind there was like a fat gay black dude with like pink hair, and then a Twinkie white gay dude, and then a bunch of like Spanish chicks. And it's like, this is a pho place. Where's the fucking where's the super nice old Chinese lady who can't, or Vietnamese, whatever pho is, who can't speak fucking English very well, but she like kills it? I don't want your like art project. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, because there is this like broader thing in the general. I don't know, man. Maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe it partially has to do with like how I got brought up, where it's like there was never this like big focus on like, ooh, you and your stuff is so special. You know what I mean? That's what makes it so hard for me sometimes to like, I try to like write scripts or write books and shit like that, or just do my writing in general. And it's like, I don't know. Sometimes, it's kind of ironic because like whenever I do these streams, I think a lot of times they like they can't not. They're my opinions and stuff like that, and they center around how I feel about stuff. But if I'm ever doing, I don't know, like when you go and see people do stand up comedy, and you're watching them being like, oh wow, that was such a good point they made, and it's like, dude, who gives a shit? Not that I don't have jokes where I'm like trying to make good points and shit like that. But like the essence of what I'm doing up there is like, I want to make this room like laugh their fucking dicks off and pussies, respectfully. I want to make them laugh their pussies and dicks off. So it's like when I see people what's the fucking word? It's just so much of this like, I don't know. It just drives me crazy because it's like a lot of this alt shit is good, but it's very, very self-indulgent. And it's like I've watched self-indulgent stuff when I'm like intrigued by the creator, but it gets to a certain point where it gets to a certain point where you're just like, is this all you do art about? You just do art to go, you just make art to be like, this is how I am and feel, and it really just turns into like a form of like validating who you are. So it's like a lot of this stuff to me is just fucking annoying and exhausting. Anyway, sorry, I got a little sidetracked on the tirade on how I hate alternate alt fucking shit. Because that is it's the self-indulgent nature of it, and then it's just constant. And it's why like this clip I'll play afterwards. Well, if we get to it, it's like a 20-minute clip, but this clip, it's what like, I don't know. It's this like whole constant search of self and like understanding who you are, which I'm always just like, I don't know, like, isn't the goal to just be a better person? Like, don't you want to focus on who the better person is as opposed to just like, I need to fully understand myself? Because it's like, I don't know, I think you get, like, I know for me, if I get too bogged down with that shit, you start thinking you're the center of the universe. It's like being a comedian. I already have a big ego. I don't know if I want to do all that stuff to make it even bigger. Because also too, my other beef with like psychedelics is I just never. It's like when people say like, oh, I do like MMA really humbles you and chills you out, and I go, I gotta be honest. I don't know how much evidence I've truly seen of that to make it a like sweeping declare. Obviously, it's happened. You know what I mean? But like, I've met a lot of guys who do jujitsu and who do MMA, and they really like to constantly let you know that they could beat you up. You know what I mean? So it actually, like, I don't know. I think sometimes, what up, Big Red? What's the deal? Well, we're getting into it. Like, it's like I've noticed a lot of times with the MMA shit, it's like I actually think it like enables insecurity sometimes more because it's like, yo, who's gonna say shit to me? So I think it's like it gives you a safe space for your insecurities to run a little wild. Again, I'm not anti-jiu-jitsu. I think it's good for everyone to like learn how to fight and stuff like that. But, has it really, like, look at MMA fighters. When you can murder everyone with your hands in the room, does that really calm you down? You know what I mean? Anyway. Was that a shot at Pat? Maybe. It didn't mean it to be. It might have been. I don't know. I can beat you up in Tekken. That's fair. But yeah, again, I'm not anti-MMA. I'm not anti-MMA because I think it's important for everyone to learn how to fight for like reasons and shit like that. But also too, if you're concerned about self-defense, you should just open carry all the time. Like, let's be real. If you actually care about that. But yeah, that wasn't a shot at Pat. I mean, unless everything I said applied to him, which I don't know if it does. I wasn't thinking about Pat when I said that. Anyway, sidetracked after sidetracked. I say all that to say I'm not a big fan of Reggie Watts's. I don't, I've enjoyed his material. I don't particularly pursue it. I also, what he sort of represents as a creative, I also don't really like or respect. So like, but all that being said, can you really blame him for her suicide? You know what I mean? Like this chick from what I can tell, she was already doing drugs and stuff like that. She was already doing drugs. And then she goes, and like who's to say she didn't go like, oh, I'm gonna date Reggie Watts because he's the famous guy who also has access to all the good drugs. And now I will say Reggie Watts probably has to take some blame in the fact that, he's one of those people who like haphazardly go into the fuck was it? Sorry, some cord fell or something. There does seem to be this in the pro ketamine community, a general haphazard perspective on it that I don't think is good, that I don't think people should take lightly, because I don't know a whole lot about ketamine. We'll try to learn more in this stream today. We'll try to learn a little bit more about ketamine in this stream today, but it doesn't seem like it seems like it can benefit you without a doubt, because I've heard a bunch of stories of people doing ketamine and feeling great and nothing. But it also seems like something where it's like, yo, you got to be careful, though. You got to be mindful of it. And it's like if Reggie Watts, because I was watching, again, the back and forth he has with, here, we can just kind of, the back and forth, it's such a long clip. I'll just let you guys know what they said in it. The back and forth that he has with Rainn Wilson in that clip is, it reminds me of Kratom people, where, I think Kratom to me sounds like it's organic heroin, where if you are trying to get off heroin, it's a good thing to have. Or if you're trying to get off amphetamines in general, is that what heroin is? Whatever. If you're trying to get off that stuff in general, it's a good thing to have. But it is still like, it's grass-fed heroin, and it's like you shouldn't just be casually doing Kratom if you don't have a huge, crazy drug problem. So, like, I think people sort of shoo away potential problems of, like, I think the ketamine crowd's similar to the Kratom crowd. Like, I think ketamine, I don't exactly know what to compare it to, but to me, it's the same way as, like, Kratom is heroin, though, still, basically. Because if you've never done heroin and you do some Kratom, like, it might get you on heroin, depending on how you react depending on how much you like the Kratom. And then also, too, I feel like Kratom's new. Anyway, is Kratom a new drug? No, Kratom is not a new drug. It's a natural plant product derived from the leaves of, which has been used in South Asia hundreds of years. Oh, okay. Well, it's new to like I think, and Rainn Wilson actually makes a really good point in the video I watched, where he was like, I think it's, and I agree with this, I think because people always they go, these drugs have been used forever. And they have, but if you go back, they're always used in like important ceremonies and stuff. I think the normalization of the casual use of these things, and I even feel that way with weed sometimes. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people smoke weed as a Band-Aid when they really need to like actually like go to rehab or some shit. Not like it's almost like smoking weed. I feel like it's like taking ibuprofen for your mental health, when it's like, you might need to just go exercise and rehab that, your knee or arm or whatever. And people are like, nah, I'm just going to keep taking painkillers. You know what I mean? It's like, because there's a lot of people I know who smoke a lot of weed that I'm like, I'm not anti-weed, you know. I'm a big fan of drinking, and I'd be really pissed if they like. But it's like it's that thing when rather than figuring your shit out, you're like, I'll just get way higher. Like that's not good. So I feel these, and I think that's what people are doing with. I think the normalization of like casual drug use is not good. I'll just straight up say it. Like the normalization of like to me, drugs aren't a part of your day. They're not like they shouldn't be like, because like I feel like that softens you up a little bit. You know what I mean? It softens you up to like the problems of the world. You should be able to like raw dog life occasionally. Now, sometimes shit gets crazy and like I was stressed out. I was stressed out Tuesday night and I needed to just, sometimes you can't stop your brain. So I ripped a six pack and I just was like, I was at home chilling, just like listening to music and drinking, just trying, just like, just needing, cause like life's stressful, just need a little bit of escape through the day. But like, if I start waking up and I just need a beer every day, that's not good. I think you should be able to like raw dog life to a degree. Um, yeah, so that's what I fear with like the normalization of like just taking ketamine and shit like that. And I think that you could, but like, I don't think there's anything like legal you could put on Reggie Watts. Cause at the same time, it's like, yo, his girlfriend was an adult. I'm not like victim blaming. I'm not saying like, she deserved her. I'm not saying any of that shit. But it is like, yo, she's also an adult at the end of the day. She can, you know, she should have like you should do some fucking research. I'm not saying she didn't per se. I mean, it's just you should do some research before you take a bunch of ketamine. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, this video is very accusatory, but there is some interesting info about Reggie Watts in it. Also, I was watching this a little bit last night. The way that this guy, like little moments like this, he like breaks it down much more concise than I can, and I really appreciate this dude. Oh yeah, and then like that's also too a lot of times when you get the like smart, clever comedy, the comedy that's deemed highbrow, and when you really boil it down, it'll be like, well, what are they talking about? And it's like, well, he did all this fanfare to distract you from the groundbreaking point of they demean women in rap videos. You're like, oh fuck, thank God Reggie tackled that topic. No one else has ever brought that up. You can really make an entire career off of people being afraid to be perceived as like dumb for not liking you. Sorry, I feel like I expressed that in a super wordy way, but yeah, like all this other shit, like people will just go with it because they go, if I don't big up this, I'll look dumb. Everyone will think I'm dumb. Oh, and then we do this thing where it's like, oh, and then he was the like we do this fucking thing where we just like pretend like we all pretend like we don't just think James Corden's shit sucks ass. You know what I mean? Can I flip these? Hell yeah. But yeah, we all just actually I want to go back here. We do this thing where we go, oh, video has no audio. Damn, sorry boys. Here, I'll back this shit up a little bit for you. But like with the James Corden thing, they'll be like, "Oh, he got on James Corden." And it's like we all just pretend like like all late night shows suck ass. You're like, that's not a bit. It's I remember talking about it too when everyone was like creaming themselves over bands like Knock Loose getting on Jimmy Kimmel. And you're like, this isn't like like Jimmy Kimmel doesn't make Knock Loose cooler. Knock Loose makes Jimmy Kimmel cooler. Know what I mean? It's like we all agree at all times that Jimmy Kimmel sucks dick, but then magically, oh wait a minute, the big established cool kids thing said this was cool, so now it's cool that that happened. You're like, no, I don't care. So it's like, I don't know. Everyone, like, we all know James Corden sucks fucking dick. It's not a big up to be like, ooh, Reggie Watts. You know, he plays music on that shitty ass show.
Sophisticated nervous breakdown. Even Brian Eno once admitted he couldn't really work out what Reggie was. Critics were throwing around words like genius, original, and inventive. And by the beginning of the 2000s, Reggie Watts felt like one of the coolest people in alternative comedy. He toured with Conan O'Brien. He became a huge part of Comedy Bang Bang. Then he became James Corden's bandleader on The Late Late Show. He had somehow turned making weird noises into a legitimate Hollywood career, which makes what is happening now particularly strange. Because over the last few days, Reggie Watts has started disappearing. His longtime theme music was suddenly removed from the latest episode of the Comedy Bang Bang podcast. The week before, it was still there. Now it isn't. No explanation has been given publicly. Festivals have also started removing him from their lineups. Greenbelt and Shambhala in the UK have dropped his scheduled appearances. He's also disappeared from the Electric Picnic lineup in Ireland, while a series of Bristol performances with the band Capiac were cancelled. And all of this follows a disturbing Rolling Stone investigation into Reggie's relationships and his attitude towards drugs. At the center of the report is Reggie's late former girlfriend, Catherine Early McCulloch.
For the people that want to know what Reggie Watts did, I'm going to TLDR it for you. Okay, love bombing, creating an intensely romantic, generous dream life at the beginning, lavish travel, constant attention, gifts, and sweeping promises. He did that with Catherine. These are all things he did with Catherine. Intermittent reinforcement. Mind you, this guy's 52.
I don't know, though. That also, he's a rich guy. Like, I understand what they're saying, but a lot of these things like take away a lot of the agency from the other person, where it's like love bomb, or like also Reggie Watts is rich. You know, like if I was fucking rich, I would do a bunch of these things for my wife. That doesn't mean I'm love bombing. It just means I fucking got it, dude. Did he actually do anything or just cringe? They are. Wait, what? I don't know, but I have a Lemon Party vid on, and they're also talking about him, I think. Hell yeah. Great minds, brother. But it's hard to tell if he actually did anything directly. But yeah, I mean, if you take full agency away from the woman, then like, yeah, you could say he did stuff.
Okay, so he's old enough to know. Intermittent reinforcement, eroding self-esteem, positioning himself as her superior or teacher, like saying she has flaws and he needs to guide her to higher consciousness, spiritual manipulation, using ideas about consciousness, ego awakening.
Well, but also too, like, she probably went to Reggie because she thought these things about him.
And medicine to rationalize drug use, pressuring friends and partners to take drugs, shaming people who declined drugs, making intimacy conditional on substance use, disregarding drug boundaries, dangerously administering excessive doses.
McCullough's friends.
I wonder how you even like prove any of that. I wonder. Well, there's the fucking that article came out, but I'm not paying for your fucking article. I'm not paying for this Rolling Stone. Yeah, fuck you, Rolling Stone. They did. It's also. It's. Oh shit. Okay. I guess still got the article. Oh, here we go. Okay, cool. The article's right here. I thought it was gonna make me pay for it. I was like, I'm not doing that, dude. Fuck your website. Uh-oh. Frozen. Sounds like he's just that shrooms guy. Yeah, and it's like he sucks ass, and I could see some of his behavior affecting this girl negatively, but also at the same time, like, she wanted to do all this stuff. So, I don't know, man. Reggie Watts Festival removes comedian. Comedy Bang Bang drops theme song. Musician has accused of reckless encouragement of drug use and abusive behavior in multiple relationships. One ex died by suicide earlier this year. Comedy Bang Bang has quietly removed its Reggie Watts created theme song. Report comedian musician reckless behavior awakens ex-girlfriend death. Fan of the popular comedy podcast were greeted with a generic British woman's voice stating the episode number today instead of Watts' improvisational beatboxing riff that served as the show's intro since 2011. The show did not acknowledge the replacement, nor has it directly commented on the recent accusations against Watts, a longtime friend of the show. Watts was scheduled to do these festivals. Was canceled. Okay, shows are canceled. Here we go. The removals follow a lengthy report published by Rolling Stone on Thursday where loved ones of Watts' late ex. Okay, so this isn't actually like. I was like, that's why it's probably Oh yeah, GTA trailer out in a couple minutes actually. Oh my god, Mandy, if you're gonna be Mandy Jalafarina 610 community, you got to stop being such a try hard. Pull it back. Just wait till you got something good. You don't have to hit me with something every time a thought comes to you. The removal follows a lengthy report published by Rolling Stone on Thursday where loved ones of Watts' late ex-girlfriend Catherine McCullough came forward to claim that Watts encouraged McCullough to take a heavy array of drugs, particularly ketamine, throughout the relationship. They witnessed abusive aspects of the couple's relationship, including financial dependence, and Watts allegedly withholding emotional support from McCullough. So he paid for everything, and he was a bad boyfriend. Watts cultivated a dynamic relationship where she felt like she could only truly access intimacy, closeness, and empathy from him if they were both using drugs together. One friend said, yeah, I mean, like, that's, yeah, but also you dated these super high intent. Like, I'm not trying to victim blame, but it's like, that's what's gonna happen. You didn't have to date the guy obsessed with ketamine. After McCullough suffered a drug-induced manic episode last summer, watched it in October. She died in March. So that does make Reggie Watts seem like a cunt. Where it is like, now is that directly his fault? If you're gonna give her these drugs that then induce a manic episode, it's like you're gonna kind of indirectly cause the problem and then break up with her because of that problem. That does suck ass. She died by suicide's weird. It's just a weird statement because I think you should technically say she killed herself. In March, McCullough's loved ones claim Watts was reckless in his behavior, and they firmly believe if McCullough had never met Watts, she wouldn't have developed an addiction to ketamine and she'd still be alive today. Okay, but also, like, that was definitely something she was looking for. A guy with lots of money and drugs. But also, too, like, I'm not trying. I very much so don't want to come off as victim blaming. But I also, too, go like, she's also an adult. If you're going to get into ketamine, like, do the research, bro. We cancel drug guys. Yeah, Mandy, you're doing too much. You're doing too much. Pull it back. I will block you again just for being, and I've said it 1,000 times before. The only reason I block people, well, one, if they say too many slurs, because that'll get my channel fucked up. But if you're being annoying, I will block you in a heartbeat. Catch the vibe. Chill the fuck out. Watts attorney Andrew Brettler said it was dangerously false to suggest that Watts was responsible for McCullough's suicide. Brettler also pushed back on Watts' alleged prompting of McCullough to take drugs, claiming she was already an experienced drug user before dating Watts. Rolling Stone spoke with 5 women who previously dated Watts, 3 who claim they also experienced Watts encouraging them to take drugs. Yeah, he's a ketamine guy. Like, of course he's gonna. Like, if you date the guy who's obsessed with ketamine and fucking psychedelics, he's gonna offer you some. 2 exes alleged Watts blew past their boundaries to satisfy. One woman claimed recorded an explicit video of her that she had no consent to. Another claimed Watts initiated condom despite an implicit agreement that, okay, like, can we also stop? There's like this thing where like people are getting canceled for being bad boyfriends. It's like, okay, like, did he do something illegal? Did he beat her? Like, if all your claims was that he was a shitty boyfriend, I go, what are we doing, man? What are we doing? We're wasting our time with this? Why aren't we talking about how he makes shitty content? Like, why aren't we shitting on him for his like fucking fake deep bullshit? Oh, but he was also the professional comedian was not open and direct with his emotions. Oh, what? What the fuck? Oh yeah, this though, I will say, as much victim blaming as we've been doing today, this video makes Reggie Watts look like a fucking psycho. Just based off of, like, he posted this right after she killed herself. This video makes him look like a fucking psycho. Oh, wait, is the audio not coming through again? I'm sorry. I got to be better about paying attention to that. It's if I switch back and forth too many times, the audio like goes away. This was all shit we already talked about.
Drugs contributed to the path she went down. That is their allegation.
This is also Catherine's earring too. She gave me. So I'm always going to be. Well, she's always going to be with me, and I've gotten some great messages from people who have psychic connections too.
But just for context, his ex-girlfriend just killed herself. His in memoriam is laying in bed on his pillow. That's how he's letting everyone know he feels bad.
Telling me that Catherine told them to tell me that she's all right. And
yes, and also people have, and also clearly like I think this dude is like, this video is the most damning evidence. And I could, I forgot about this. I could see, there's a level of like I don't think he was directly abusing anyone, but if you just try to have a romantic or like a sort of emotional relationship with a person like this, it can like fuck your shit up because they don't, like, I've done that with certain friends who are just bad at expressing themselves emotionally, and they come off as like super callous, but they don't like mean to. They don't mean to. They just, I don't know. They have a disconnect on like so like right now, like this, he's in a vulnerable space, Big Red. You would have like, based off of his, if I didn't know English and I was listening to a guy talk in this temperament, I could never guess that he's like talking about a loved one who killed themselves.
This is also Catherine's earring too. She gave me. So I'm always going to be, well, she's always going to be with me. And I've gotten some great messages from people who have psychic connections too, telling me that Catherine told them to tell me that she's all right and that she's okay. And
yeah, the girl who just killed herself, she made sure to contact Reggie's drug friends to let him know she's okay. Sure, dude.
And however that's received, it's
like, look at how upset that guy. Could you ever guess that if you just saw this picture, could you ever guess that dude's ex-girlfriend just killed herself? Which this is 6 months after they broke up.
It's a comfort, and yeah, it's really beautiful. And as for myself, I'm processing, with myself and with other people. But the good thing is I really love myself so much. I have a really great relationship with myself, and that is really getting me through right now. A lot of meditation and introspection, and of course running through all the thoughts of, could this have happened? Could that have happened to change things? But in the end, it is the way that it is. And I have to say the way that she chose to go was pretty.
Oh yeah, this is psychotic.
Change things, but in the end, it is the way that it is. And I have to say the way that she chose to go was pretty elegant.
His ex-girlfriend's suicide was really elegant. That is a quote from Reggie Watts.
Anyways, at least from my perspective, she was very, very intentional about it, and she had a partner.
No fucking shit, she was intentional. She ended her life.
That she found on a forum, and they did this thing together. So she wasn't alone. And
wait, so it was an assisted suicide?
And she had many beautiful moments in Lima, by the sea, in a sculpture garden, an installation.
I also do think, like, because if you get into, like you also, I just thought about this. You also have to consider the fact that if you like get deep into psychedelics, you start looking at life in a different way. So like you also, the reason he's coming off so psychotic to like normal people like us is he's also thinking about life in these like different dimensions, and he's like, he probably doesn't view death the same way we do. So I will, I think that's also going on, but like, but also I don't know, man. I think with like how normal people behave, like that, like doing that, like I understand in the moment in intellectualizing it, but like you see it all the time where it's like people will go like someone will die and a religious person will be like, oh, they're in heaven now, and it's like, well, why are you so upset? You should be jealous. But it's like human emotions are human emotions. You know what I mean? Like, and the fact that, because that's usually what happens, that stuff overrides like all the intellectual arguments you could have, and like you just act like a normal person in these moments. And the fact that he's not is also odd. Had a teacher who liked to say, if you're stupid and you just keep your mouth shut, nobody will know. I don't know, but a lot of stupid people don't know they're stupid. A lot of stupid people are not aware that they're stupid. I don't know. I used to be fried off LSD shrooms a lot, was never that chill about death. That's what I'm kind of saying is like, I think a lot of people can intellectualize like death in these like, because he's probably thinking about like different dimensions and shit like that. But like once the actual moment hits you, people aren't that chill intellectualizing it ever.
Art place, and they stayed in a really nice hotel and rented a cute Airbnb.
Wait, is he also breaking down? Like he's aware that this was like an assisted suicide? That's also like, you might, knowing this info and not going to the police might get him in hot water too.
She was very, very intentional about it, and she had a partner that she found on a forum, and they did this thing together. So she wasn't alone. And she had many beautiful moments in Lima, by the sea, in a sculpture garden, an installation art place, and they stayed in a really nice hotel and rented a cute Airbnb, and ended things there. And yeah, I've grown to accept that as what she chose, and I will honor that. Anyways, thank you for your continued.
It's extremely important to make clear that Reggie Watts, through his attorney Andrew Brettler,
that's a very odd way to express those feelings. I gotta be honest.
strongly denies responsibility. His lawyer called attempts to connect Watts to McAuliffe's death dangerously false and said she had experience with drugs before their relationship and did not require encouragement from him. He also denies allegations that Watts was an abusive boyfriend, but the Rolling Stone investigation doesn't only contain allegations involving McAuliffe. 5 other women who previously dated Watts reportedly described what they saw as reckless or selfish behavior involving drugs. 2 of those women characterized their relationships with him as emotionally and psychologically abusive. Again, Watts denies allegations of abuse.
You're quite the psychedelic traveler. You know, I've spoken...
Oh, hell yeah. This was the interview I wanted to bring up. I'm going to get another... I want to get a seltzer and go to the bathroom. I'm going to let this video rip, and I'll be right back.
Against psychedelics on this show before, and I truly, because partially I get a little judgy around it.
The circles I travel in, it's almost all fueled by ketamine, I would say. Is like, but I will say that it's not alcohol. people don't drink alcohol generally on ketamine. And also you wouldn't want to drink alcohol and ketamine. I think alcohol is one of the most inefficient, unnecessary substances on the planet. What I enjoy about psychedelics and ketamine, and again, I'm never out there going like, guys, everybody do this. I mean, sometimes I joke about that, but like, it's, even when I enter into communities where people are doing ketamine and they're doing it as a party drug, I'm always like bringing it back to, what are you feeling? What are you thinking about right now? Have you noticed this? Have you noticed that? Because in the psychonaut community, when you go on a trip, every single trip that you take is an opportunity to learn more about yourself.
Reggie Watts is probably one of the last comedians many people would have expected to see at the center of allegations like these. And I caught myself thinking something stupid when I first read the story. He doesn't look like the type. But what exactly does the type look like? That's the trap. There isn't an abuser uniform. There isn't a particular haircut. People accused of terrible behavior don't necessarily walk around looking threatening. Sometimes they look like the gigantic friendly guy with the afro making funny robot noises. And maybe that's partly why these stories involving comedians repeatedly surprise people. We've seen major controversies surrounding Louis C.K., Chris D'Elia, Bill Cosby, and plenty of others. That's not evidence that comedians are somehow uniquely predisposed to abusive behavior. But comedy creates something interesting between performer and audience: false intimacy. A comedian spends hundreds of hours telling you about themselves, their relationships, their childhood, their insecurities, their sex life, their failures. Eventually, you feel like you know them. And Reggie arguably had an even stronger version of that. His entire persona felt harmless, curious, absurd, almost childlike. He wasn't selling aggression. He was the weird musical genius who could walk onto a stage with a microphone and loop pedal and somehow create.
That shit annoys me too. That's like not hard. Like doing the loop pedal stuff. You just have to like commit. It's just like people feel embarrassed doing it. You just have to like commit to it. That's the other thing I was thinking about. I mean, maybe you have to be a little musically inclined and stuff like that, but it's not like it's not the hardest thing in the world. You just have to like be a little musically inclined.
An entire universe.
We live on an island. Island by the sea.
That persona became part.
Yeah, like literally you go record that, and then you go boom 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 boom. You have a drum and a bass line. You just go, I am out here. Oh, I am out here. Why are we out? You just have to turn off, like most people who, it's the same thing I feel about acting outside of like, there's high level acting where you make yourself cry and stuff. That stuff seems hard. But if you're just doing like sitcom acting and shit, because I've done it here and there before. And I go, you just have to turn that part of your brain off where you go, this is fucking gay as shit. Because it is. It's stupid. You're pretending. You're being another guy. And it's like, it's the same thing with this loop shit. Like, it's not like, that's also the part that drives me fucking crazy. That people are like, oh, it's so mind-blowing. It's not. It's not a hard thing to do whatsoever.
Of how audiences.
I'm not going to say you don't like it. Like, I can't say it's not. Like, I can't say you, like, it's bad. You like it. Fine. You like it. It's not fucking mind-blowing. You get this shit that, like, normies get tricked into thinking is, like, fucking high-intensity, high-level fucking art. And you're like, it's fucking not, dude.
Understood the person, but a persona isn't a person, and that's worth remembering whenever allegations like these emerge. There is also another uncomfortable part of the Reggie story. Drugs were never exactly hidden from his public image. He has talked openly about psychedelics. Old interviews contain stories about making creative work while high. For years, that probably added to the image of Reggie as this eccentric experimental artist who experiences reality slightly differently from everybody else. In the context of the new allegations, those old stories suddenly sound different.
We put ourselves in different states for different reasons, whether it's a philosophy, if we're like learning a philosophy and we're like, okay, if I think about Taoism in this particular way, or if I practice like, transcendental meditation or whatever the thing that you're using is, they're all self-reflection tools. They're like things that just reveal things about yourself that are innate. There's nothing that adds anything to you. If you take a stimulant, yes, you're wired or whatever, and that is something that is affecting you to be wired, but it's something that is innate in your body.
Plenty of adults use drugs without abusing their partners, but when former partners begin alleging a repeated pattern involving drugs, boundaries, and relationships, the subject becomes considerably more serious. And the comedy industry clearly knows that. Nobody has announced that Reggie Watts is permanently finished. There has been no court finding establishing the allegations described in these reports. But institutions aren't waiting around to see how the story develops. Festivals are removing him, performances are disappearing, and perhaps most symbolically,
he picked the only addictive psych that can melt your inside. Yeah, I don't know. Like, you could definitely get him for reckless behavior, but at the end of the day, like, yo, if you're doing ketamine, you gotta look like you gotta be careful. You can't just fucking casually do ketamine. I'm not saying she did necessarily, but it's like, to me, it's almost similar to being like, oh, she started dating this skydiver. And it's like, sorry, wait. Oh, fuck. Sorry. I had a few last night. There we go. My insides are betraying me. But no, it's like also too, it's like to me, it's on par with saying some shit like, oh, she dated this skydiver and then really got into skydiving because of that. And then there was a skydiving accident, and it's like, yeah, I don't know, dude. Like, don't date the skydiver then. Be careful. You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna date the ketamine psychedelics guy, you gotta be careful. But like, all that being said, Reggie Watts still does kind of seem like a psychopath.
Comedy Bang Bang has removed the voice that helped define its sound for more than a decade.
Also, can I say this? Like, beatboxing kind of fucking sucks. Like, I've seen someone do it in person, and then they always hit that thing where like you'll see someone beatbox like Seven Nation Army, and they'll be in the boot like boom, 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 and they'll like also throw the snare in. You're like, oh, that's cool. And then it's like, do you want to hear like a whole album of that? You're like, fuck no. No, that's like cool for a TikTok's length of time. It's not actually like, we don't actually consider it real shit. Like, no, beatboxing actually sucks ass, but it's like fun and quirky because every time someone's beatboxing around you, you're like, this is going to end soon, right? Okay, good. And you're like, this is fun. No, it actually sucks.
Comedy bang bang, 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 comedy bang bang.
Yeah, like, that's not good, by the way. Can we, like, God damn it. And it's like so annoying because it's like this is always considered like the more high level like type of comedy. And it's like, oh, I thought the shit that like just makes you gut laugh involuntarily was the actual good shit. Yes. Unless you're Biz Markie. R.I.P. Biz Markie. Unless you're Biz Markie. Thank you very much, PKF.
For now, these remain allegations. Reggie Watts denies them, but the professional consequences have already begun, and one of the strangest comedy careers of the last 15 years has suddenly entered a chapter nobody watching fuck shit.
Yeah, I don't think like I don't think he did anything illegal. I just think, oh shit, is there a new Dune game? Let's go. Like, I don't think bro did anything like illegal. I just think, because here's what happens. A guy like Reggie Watts comes out, and then, super hip, super observant dudes like me go, that guy sucks ass. And you like spot that sorry, I was being funny with the super. Anyway, I don't know if that came off as a joke or just came off super genuine. But no, for real, it's like Reggie Watts comes out. And I was into him for a little bit, but then after a certain point, you kind of like see the shit, and like a guy like me clocks him as like, oh, this guy sucks ass. And then he gets away with that forever, and like normies cream themselves. And then an expose happens, and it's like not to say that I knew this, but I'm not surprised by any of this. And it's just, excuse me. We're basically all why does he kind of look like an Indian Sam Hyde? He really does. Holy shit. But like basically we're all finding out that like normies are finding out that the dude sucks ass. That's all that's gonna, and it's like, you know, you go through that with all of your fucking favorite celebrities or whatever. You find out that they actually, because most of them do suck ass to some degree. You find out that they actually suck ass, and then you go, do I still want to fuck with them? And that's what, and there's going to be a lot of people that don't want to fuck with them because like they base their enjoyment off of who's squeaky clean and who's considered valid by the industry. And then he's still going to be fine, but it's just, you know, he's not, I don't think he gets to be one of the cool guys anymore. And it is interesting too. This does reek of like a hit piece, even though he does act well, because it's like it's mixed because it's like it is a hit piece, but they are also revealing that bro sucks ass. But everyone in Hollywood and in the mainstream industry all suck ass like this. So like I don't know if he did something that it's like, oh, he doesn't get to be in the cool kids club anymore. Like this feels like he's getting expelled from the cool kids club. You know, because it's the idea that he's any worse than anybody in these circles is laughable. That's the other part of it too. You know, in his celebrity circles that he walks through, and I know even in like the alt comedy circles, because I know alt comedy a lot of times tries to act like they're super duper special squeaky clean kids. And it's like, no, you're dorks, but you're still fucking scumbags like the rest of us. So like, you know, I guarantee you he's no worse than the average comedian. So yeah, that's why it's like, dude, if you're gonna be a scumbag, don't like, you know, like I don't think I'm a bad person, but I don't present myself as like I try not to at least. I mean, I spend a lot of time talking into cameras, like basically telling people what I think is right. So maybe I do think I'm better than people, but you know what I mean? It's like I try not to make my whole, because it's like, well, I get in my own way. Anytime I think I'm better than anyone else, I end up doing something that sort of just lets everyone know, like, no, it's okay. He's not. Don't worry. Like my own existence doesn't allow me to be that pretentious. But what am I trying to say? Oh, interesting. Video shitting on Dave Portnoy. That looks fun. But what was I going to say to sort of round this out? Because I do want to sort of clip this up later to be a video. But yeah, I like, to be fair to Reggie Watts. I don't think he's any worse than the average actor, artist, comedian, musician. I think Hollywood and all those spaces are just filled with fucking, you know, just fucking shitty people. But also that doesn't mean I'm like, yo, I still think Reggie Watts sucks ass. But I just think he's cringe. I don't know if he's like a bad guy. He just sucks ass and is cringe. But I think this is I don't know. I think it feels like he's getting kicked out of the cool kids club. Because again, he's no worse than the average fucking person in these groups. So yeah, I think he'll be fine. He just won't be super duper famous anymore. Like we'll see how much people like Conan and all them actually like him. Like, you know, oh, these are my good friends. Oh, did I get a bad article? Well, immediately the podcast I'm a huge part of takes my theme off. Like it's little stuff like that where you go, oh, how close are any of these people actually? That'll be interesting. If he's not if he's not like still on these shows and stuff, you'll find out that it's like, oh, they're not actually real friends. Yeah, I have to go take a crazy shit. That's an interesting one too. I was gonna play this Jared Leto video, but I also want to watch the Jared Leto video. I missed this, by the way, doing these long form streams where I like slowly break down. Wait, what? Wait, what did you say? Andy is the reason us 2X and higher guys can't buy merch. What are you talking about? I'm a 3X. Here, wait. Sorry to be off topic. Don't ever be sorry. If it's a fun little question, ask away. Sorry to be off topic, but you aren't in a band, right? No, I'm not. I would like to be at some point. When my schedule and finance, I put those words together. When my schedule and finances line up, I would like to have time to be a part of a band. I went to a show recently and saw a dude who looked just like you, and it was tripping me out the whole fucking night. Nice. No, I'm not in a band, but I used to be in bands. Actually, I'll show you that while I go take a shit. I'll show you my band I used to be in. Where's the high quality footage though? There we go. Yeah, I used to be in a band, but no, I've also too. I've just adopted the hardcore guy, metalcore guy into heavy music look makes more sense with me. So I've just slowly adopted that over time. Yeah, most guys in hardcore bands look kind of, but that's all. Yeah, exactly. And that's me also leaning into that because that look makes more sense with me. Yeah, that's what I told myself, but it was next level doppelganger. Yeah. Well, also realistically, I used to be like, nuh-uh, but let's be honest. A fucking redhead with a beard on quick glance looks like it's a phenotype. Am I using that word right? Phenotype. Is the set of observable characteristics or traits of an organism. Yeah, okay. It's the big red phenotype. He's like stocky redhead, stocky or fat redhead with a beard and like long hair and shit. Like guys like us just realize if you're a big redhead, that's a look that works for you. Nate turned out to be an abusive gay. R.I.P. PITM. What? Wait, what? What do you mean R.I.P. PITM? That was probably a reference from something I said earlier, right? Actually, I said I was gonna pull up the Tune in Tokyo thing, but I need a decently length video. There you go. Watch this guy make carbonara. That was the color of my dump. Actually, no, it was pretty. Whew, I've been taking fucking fiber supplements or gummies. I'm not gonna supplements. No, I've been incorporating more fiber gummies and shit in my day. But the drinking last night, it's never gonna stand a chance. You need those tongs in like a fancy kitchen, I think. Yeah, see, that's like how you plate fancy spaghetti. Jesus Christ. That is fucking beautiful. Okay, played it. Played it, homo. That's badass. Big red pot. No, thank God it wasn't red. Oh my God, that would have been bad. That would have been fucking bad if all that shit was red. Let's pull up some other stuff. I was thinking about watching. Oh yeah, because what am I trying to say? Fucking Jared Leto is apparently like a fucking creep. Here, I want to watch this Dune Awakening trailer real quick.
Survival game set in the world of Dune.
Let's check this out.
Welcome to Dune Awakening, an open world survival game set in the world of Dune.
You have one task. Find the Fremen. Wake the sleeper.
In Dune Awakening, you get to step into the world of the books and movies and play the main role in a new story in an alternate timeline. Experience a gripping cinematic story where you learn the ways of the Fremen, become an assassin, unravel conspiracies, and discover who you truly are. Meet characters like Fade Routher and Duke Leto, and choose to join the Atreides or the Harkonnen. The story will take you across Arrakis, explore abandoned ruins, investigate murders, meet the leader of the smugglers, and hear the roar of the arena. With the release on PlayStation, you can play in full single-player mode or on private and official servers with your friends. In single-player, you can set your own difficulty and change it at any time, like how many resources you harvest, enemy health, or even disabling the sandstorms. We put a lot of focus on making sure the game is on both PlayStation 5 and PlayStation 5 Pro. Choose between performance mode at 60 FPS and quality mode at 30 FPS, both running in upscaled 4K resolution.
Yeah, I feel I've never seen Dune, but I saw this coming to Game Pass or something. Yeah, Dune. Wait, what is Dune's good if you got a spare six? Dude, the Dune movies are worth watching. I actually this reminded me of criticism I had of Star Wars on the most recent episode of Panties. Is Star Wars is a really interesting world to exist in, but I feel like the movies something about the movies just don't do it justice, in my opinion. I was always obsessed with the video games. I feel like the video games always touched on what people really wanted from like the Star Wars world. And Dune to me is very similar, where they create this interesting world, and it's like the books aren't always like the most interesting way to explore them. Or at least I only finished one book, and I didn't, it was like a tough to get through for me. But it's like all this like really cool action shit, and like the books really just focus on a lot of like, or at least the books I've read, it's like a lot of just diplomatic political discussions and shit. So it's like having a game like this to be able to explore the world, and like just having games in general being this detailed and to be like open world and exploring the world of these like pre-established properties is very interesting to me. Gaseous giant. People just seem to blow their load over Dune. It's pretty sick. It's just like, it depends on how you want to consume it.
You decide how you want to play. Create your character and travel to the iconic planet of Arrakis. Taking your first steps in the blistering heat, you soon realize that shade will be your best friend. Gather resources to survive, mine for rocks and metals, and soon you'll be able to build your first shelter.
See, I might actually fuck with this, because this is, again, I like Dune. I'm gonna try to get through all the books, but like I'd rather just fuck around in the world like this than like, spend all that time on the books.
If you adapt and survive, the vast planet of Arrakis lies before you. Your first tool for exploration will be the sandbike.
Can I be a god?
But on the treacherous sands, the sandworm hunts for any vibration. The choice is clear. Flee or die. Islands of rock in the Sea of Sand offer shelter, and you can traverse them by climbing using a Shigawire claw or a suspensor belt.
That rules.
There are many locations to discover, like trade posts where you can meet with key characters, or crash spacecrafts full of valuable resources. Many groups fight for control, from the Kirab in Vermilius Gap, slavers in Jabal Ifrit, or the Masquerette in the Udum. Yet everyone on Dune lives under the threat of the massive sandstorms. Seek shelter or perish in the punishing winds. The fight for survival never ends. Patrols hunt you during the night. Engage enemies with a host of weapons and unlocked abilities. Harvest to craft more powerful weapons and armor. You can learn new abilities from different schools of the Imperium, like the Eye of the Storm from the Swordmaster, the Prana Bindu Strike of the Bene Gesserit, and the Hunter Seeker of the Mentat. Master both ranged and melee combat. Create your own build to face your enemy. Remember, the Slow Blade penetrates the shield. The Spice Melange unlocks your greatest potential. Fueled by the spice, you increase the power of your abilities and combat mastery. Build towering bases to protect you from the sun and sandstorms. Store your resources, house your crafting machines, and shelter your vehicles. You can build practical bases, or you can let your creativity run wild, making huge strongholds and choosing between many different building styles. Fill your base with a multitude of machines, like spice refineries and death stills, and decorate your rooms as you see fit, with furniture, banners, and ornaments. Craft an ornithopter, and weld it together, piece by piece, choosing between many different variants. With an ornithopter, you can fully explore the planet of Arrakis. On the overland map, you can travel to a variety of locations, like social hubs, story locations, faction missions, Landsrad missions, or testing stations. Whether you play in single or multiplayer, you can take part in the struggle between the Atreides and Harkonnen in the Landsrad by completing missions and earning great rewards. Select your difficulty level.
This is actually a really good point, Dunbar. I better be able to ride a fucking worm, dude. Unless Robbie's for the cousin. Monitoring the Situation is a great show name. It is, thank you. I did kind of, there is already a show, so just to be clear, Monitoring the Situation is when I lock in on one specific topic. But we kind of got to the bottom. My topic was Reggie Watts, and we kind of got to the bottom of that. So now we're just kind of streaming. There better not be any goddamn thing. No, that's why you have mentats, dude. Dunbar, that's why you have mentats. This is a Starfield, but in the desert, and Starfield was gay. Such a great direct way. Oh, dude, I saw that. Should Optimus Prime count as the third celeb death? Yeah. I think he should.
In the endgame testing stations. Face brutal difficult boss fights, alone or with a team of your friends. Test your teamwork in the vast and shifting deep desert, where you have the option to play with either full PvE or PvP. Discover testing stations and shipwrecks full of valuable loot, and harvest the biggest spice blows on Arrakis. Though in Dune, dangerous enemy will always be the Sandworm. And the Sandworm always comes.
This stuff's cool too, because like a lot of times you don't get to experience these worlds in like a functional way. You get to experience them through the structure of storytelling, and you get to experience them through, you know, what sort of themes and stuff they want to get across to you via the story. But also there is a part of me that's like, dude, I think it would be interesting to be a citizen in Dune. You know what I mean? I would love to just be a citizen in Dune and like understand how you just function day to day. That would also be interesting. So to give these like, to take these worlds and just have an open world game where you can just explore them. It's I love that. I love that. I want there to be way more open world games and pre-established properties. Oh yeah, I wanted to check out this. because I've been ever since that Star Wars XCOM game came out or is coming out. It got me focusing more on Star Wars.
With Star Wars Jedi Survivor finally out, we look back at some of the best Star Wars games ever made, from iconic classics to newer games that have boldly staked their lightsabers into the
I was going to say, this video is like 3 years old.
ground. Keep watching as we list the top 10 best Star Wars games of all time.
That rules. People do be dying. You got to get the knee Guitar Hero, need a PITM Guitar Hero cast. That'd be fun. Do you see the one they called it Stage Tour? I was like, is that a reference to Stage 4, like cancer? Yes, have a good one, Pennsylvania, Kevin 12. Oh, yeah, I realized afterwards that you meant new.
When you think of 90s first-person shooters, Doom and Quake are often the most recognizable ones, for obvious reasons. Yet, Star Wars Dark Forces is another first-person shooter among the best to come out during that decade. While it lacked a multiplayer feature, Dark Forces more than made up for it with solid graphics for the time and superb level design that provided a good challenge throughout. It also introduced Star Wars fans to Kyle Katarn, a major character in Star Wars video games for years to come.
I should have kept working for the Empire.
2005's Star Wars Battlefront 2 took the foundations of the first Battlefront, specifically the Battlefield-inspired multiplayer, and added an engaging single-player story mode on top of that solid bedrock. It's something the budding franchise didn't need, yet still pulled off surprisingly well. Its story is told from the perspective of a clone trooper, voiced by Jango Fett himself, Tamura Morrison, fighting in the Republic's 501st Legion against Separatist forces. Battlefront 2's matches have the same feature set as the first Battlefront, but with a few notable additions such as playable heroes and villains like Darth Vader and prequel-era Obi-Wan, and Space Assault, arguably the best of the multiplayer modes. While EA has released 2 Battlefront reboots since then, the original remains the best large-scale Star Wars game in the series. Knights of the Old Republic 2 is in so many ways
I heard this one's like the best one. I've heard people talk about this a bunch.
About Obsidian as much as it is about Star Wars. It's undeniably unfinished, with the final release being riddled with bugs. Still, it retains a hold over its fans, who have lovingly restored much of its cut content while addressing its flaws.
But that's not going to stop me. I'm getting back to Citadel if I have to build a new ship myself.
Its story is what makes it worth it, featuring a darker take on BioWare's approach to KOTOR, with its main character being the Jedi Exile. Its twisting narrative is very much in keeping with the Obsidian tradition, and it's what still has fans talking about KOTOR 2 today. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is one of the best single-player Star Wars games to come out in recent memory. Set 5 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith, players control Padawan Cal Kestis, one of the last surviving Jedis following the devastating Jedi Purge known as Order 66, as he traverses across the galaxy attempting to complete his training and rebuild the Jedi Order. While the Soulsborne-esque combat can be challenging, it's a rewarding system to master with the energetic and fast-paced lightsaber and force combat. There's also clearly a Metroidvania influence at work, but it's put to great effect in allowing you to explore a host of planets. Also, to unlock customization options for Cal, your lightsaber, and one of the sweetest droids around, BD-1. Rogue Leader was a graphical showcase for the GameCube at release, and it's easy to see why. More than its visuals, however, the second Rogue Squadron boasted one of the finest renditions of the famous trench run ever to be featured in a video game. Compared to its more complicated cousin, TIE Fighter, Rogue Leader is an unrepentant arcade game pitting you against waves of ties in a variety of familiar Star Wars settings in a robust package that also included bonus ships and missions, allowing you to fly everything from the Millennium Falcon to the Naboo in one fighter. It's a complete Star Wars nerd experience, serving as both one of the best Star Wars games ever and one of the best GameCube games ever. While Star Wars Dark Forces introduced us to the scrappy anti-hero Kyle Katarn, and Jedi Knight saw him embrace the Force, Jedi Outcast...
Hell yeah. I want to check this out, because I find very interesting this conversation about how, like, AI is gonna... well, this whole thing of, like, AI is gonna take over... It seems like a very, like, fake... Actually, let me take a piss and get another seltzer, because I think that's going to make my tummy feel better. Be right back. 2 seconds. Oh shit, did I pull it off too early? Did you not get to see N64 Star Wars? I'm so sorry. Josh Levy, I'm so sorry. But yes, what I was saying earlier is I don't know, the whole AI conversation right now is very fascinating, because it's like it's all these... Well, it's like it's very similar to the problem of, like, flock cameras. Well, now, and I mean this from, like, a more functional standpoint. I guess it's not similar, because I guess with the flock cameras, that's more just about, like, it's like the TSA shit where it's like, this is for your safety, and you're like, no, it's not. They're like, yeah, huh? And it's like, I think the TSA is just inefficient. The flock cameras are like, no, we're actually going to do other creepy shit that we're lying to you about. And yeah. But, like, with the AI, it's like they have less of a... They just have, like, less arguments to hide behind, because it's like they don't have... I don't know, man. Maybe I gotta just dig more into this, like, AI conversation to sort of, like, round out my thoughts on it, because it's just like it's this weird thing that all of these tech bros are just constantly going like, well, this is inevitable. This is all inevitable. And you're like, what do you mean it's inevitable? It's not like a thing that just, like, naturally developed. It's a thing you guys all forcibly implanted in everything. And, like, you have all the... They're like, it's out of our hands. It's like, what do you mean? Just uninstall it. I don't know if it's that simple. It might not be that simple. But it's like, I don't know. Like, I understand there's, like, AI apps that do all this other shit, and there's all this stuff that people kind of, like, do on their own on the internet. But it's like, you're implementing AI into all these systems. Take it out. Stop doing it. It's this weird thing where it's like AI is going to take away all these jobs. and like, you know, we're warning this and this and that, and it's like okay, just stop doing it then. It's this weird thing where I don't know, there's something deeper to it about why all these people are doing the AI shit, because it's like one of the most, I mean, in my lifetime, it's one of the most unpopular things that people like this have ever tried to implement. And it's like you can sort of make assertions, but there's no like strong argument. You know, there's like people trying to, let me open up the fucking blinds. You know, there's people trying to be like, what am I trying to say? There's people trying to be like, oh, do you want to be behind? It's like, behind what? You know what I mean? Like, what are we being behind? Like, what if we're not, it's because we have to be, yeah, it's like, yeah, people say that. That's so funny. Is that what McCusker said? We can just pour soda on the, we should do that. But it's like, oh, we'll be behind China. And it's like, on what? Having bullshit AI that no one likes? You know what I mean? It's like, yo, if it's like a cybersecurity thing, beef that up. But it's like, okay, why do you have to implement it in a way that affects my personal life so heavily? I don't understand it. I think it's just because businesses want a cheaper solution, and they don't have any, they want cheaper solutions to things, and these businesses have no integrity, so they don't care if the quality dips, because they're gonna, they're so ingrained in our day to day. It's like they're kind of like, yo, what are you gonna fucking do? What are you gonna do?
Turning now to AI. And so, look, we don't usually pay a ton of attention to what Bill Gates says on the show. If we do, we usually take the opposite. But here, maybe we can all decide whether we should take this one seriously. Let's put this one up here on the screen. He's now written a 5,784 word.
Oh, Bill Gates, the guy who desperately wanted to be Epstein's friend. Anyway, what did he have to say?
Essay. I read the entire thing. It is a warning on AI. Quote, there is no plan. Gates issued a stark warning about AI's risk to employment and the human condition, saying that companies were barreling ahead with the technology with no larger plan for the massive upheaval it would cause, even under the best circumstances.
Damn. Even a fucking video game making pedophile can fucking spit bars sometimes, I guess. Allegedly. Yeah, no, like it does feel like that they're just kind of like barreling through, not. It is this weird like religiosity that they have towards it, where it's like this has to. It's almost like it's part of some fucking prophecy that Sam Altman has.
The transition to this new AI era will be one of the most turbulent times in human history. Right now, we are not preparing for it. I don't see any evidence that leaders, experts, and communities are confronting the challenges adequately. Quote, there is.
Also, we don't like desperately need it. You know what I mean? Like we were. Like, that's the other part of it that I'm like finding it so, why does this have to be such a huge part of our lives? Like, we don't really like, there's no huge hole societally that like we desperately need AI to fill.
No plan to ease the entry into the AI era, calling for more regulation of the technology, that it will hit both white and blue collar jobs equally. Quote, critical thinking is now more important than ever, and that taxes are a part of the solution. What do you make of Mr. Gates's essay, Brian?
I mean, in general, like you skim through it, and I didn't even know he has this thing called Gates Notes.
Oh yeah, actually, I hate to say it about Bill Gates. He's got some decent book recommendations sometimes. Okay. I usually tune in for his book recommendations.
I believe that. So gatesnotes.com, check it out. You don't even have to become a premium subscriber.
I've been reading those for years.
You can just, it's all free. I mean, the gist of it all seems, basically accurate. He's saying what a lot of kind of regular people are saying, that this is an extraordinarily revolutionary and scary technology, and we have no plan for it. It could cause an immense amount of harm, and we need to think about it, and also that it could produce huge advances in the ways that we treat disease, organize society, that sort of thing. I think everybody kind of agrees with that. Rebalance how we tax labor and capital, that clearly has to happen because right now we tax work rather than wealth.
Yes.
And if AI is really going to revolutionize the amount of human labor that's being done, that means that labor will be done basically by capital. And if you're not taxing that, then you no longer have an economy.
Right. I thought that the craziest thing that he called for, quote, human reserve
That was really
jobs,
funny. Yeah.
where he's like, no, we're going to set aside a quota of
nature
jobs.
preserves.
Yeah, nature preserves. We're going to set aside this select group of.
Why don't people just stop trying to like game plan society? Like that's the other part too. Is like I feel like there's way more. You know, where it's kind of I've been thinking about this more because I want to get that City Skylines game that's basically Sim City, and it's like I feel like there's more people now that are trying to like run society like that, or almost like they're playing Age of Empires or something, just like a real, like there's people who want to treat life like it's a real-time strategy game when it comes to like problem solving. And it's like, in my opinion, the real way you do problem solving is you go like, oh, where, like what's going, it's not this like big mass, what's the term? What was the thing that they would do in like socialism? Why am I forgetting this? The one guy who like plans everything. What's the fucking? God damn it! What's that fucking called? Central planning. Yeah. There we go. People are trying to like centrally plan society all the time, which is like there's not good evidence that that's, you know, you can really, especially on like a mass scale that everyone's trying to do it at. You know what I mean? You know, it's like, and even on a small scale, there's a lot of the head king. It's so funny. And even on like a small scale, it's still, you're still like referencing out other people who have higher skills than you to like fix certain problems. You know what I mean? So it's like central planning isn't a good task to like solve problems. And it's just like you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why there's so many, and that feels like it's what a lot of human beings who are like behind the AI stuff is like, I know what's best for everyone. And it's like, I don't know, that stuff always annoys me because it's like, yo, even if you didn't, you're not allowed to, just because you think you know what's best for someone, you're not allowed to like run their life for them, you know? It's this way that people just like, they have this like noble outlook on their whole thing. And so they think that they can just have total control over everyone's life because they think it's what's best for them. And it's like, yo, who the fuck are you, dude? I don't get why there's like so many people like that now. You know what I mean? It's like, I wish people were more, you know, like the outlook I have on things is like, you know, like I like to do these streams because I like to do them and I have questions, and then we look into a thing and we try to like figure it the fuck out. And then you just like have that information in the world, and hopefully, you know, us here in this moment trying to figure it out can then create, you know, something better for other people. Or like, and then there's other people who are like I've thought about it too with, you know, I always joke about opening up a food truck. I was like, dude, I really should, because there's not like a good like East Coast like sandwich pizzeria shop here. There's some good shit, but like not on a casual level. And I was thinking, I was like, yeah, no one really does like the cheesesteak and stuff like that, right? I was like, what if, and it's not me going like, well, Austin needs to understand the power of the cheesesteak and how important. It's like, no. It's just like, yo, there's no good cheesesteaks. What if I filled that gap in the market? And it's like people aren't going about it like, I don't know. That to me just seems like a better problem solving mechanism than, you know, one person who's like, I know how everyone should behave. Like, I don't know, that shit all. And it's like, it feels like that. I feel like AI is littered with that energy.
Jobs, and these measly humans, you'll be allowed to do that, but everything else
you won't be allowed to leave
for
we're going to call it a plantation.
Yeah, we're with script currency, just like the Ford rule, where we'll get
Yeah, no, I think it's stuff like this, just like the put the internet and everything era. We're now putting AI and everything. Smart thermostat's great. A smart toaster, just toast my bread. Not every object needs a digital soul. Well, it's this like concept of like constantly moving forward, where it's like, where it's like technology's never done. Technology's never done. We just have to keep reinventing the wheel. And it's like, dude, sometimes you figure the wheel out. Like I think oh shit, is my shit acting up? Are we still connected? I think we're still connected. Yeah. It's like when they started putting like TVs on the fridges. It's like, make it more efficient, use less energy, all those things. You got a new design that maximizes space, but I go, the refrigerator's pretty figured out. One side's cold and one side's freezing. You know what I mean? Like, boom. I don't need to, like, why does my refrigerator need my email? You know what I mean? Like sometimes, like, I guess what I'm trying to, sometimes, dude, you figure the fucking wheel out. And then it's like, if you never have this like shut off valve, you start moving into like weird directions where, well, how do we change this? It's like, well, you don't have to make the toast. You just wake up and think toast, and now there's toast. You're like, dude, we were fine on toast, dude. Smart thermostats are not great. That's Big Brother knowing when you're home and not home because you link schedule information to the internet. Yeah. I'm never buying a smart home shit or a car. Well, dude, I was thinking about that last night. We were hanging out at the creek and everyone was sharing stories where they were like connecting their Bluetooth, their phone to like other like speakers throughout the house. And it was just having all these horror stories of like watching porn and accidentally blaring the porn audio throughout your entire house and your family can hear that. And I go, yeah, dude, I don't ever have to run into those problems because I'm never doing the whole fucking like link my entire house up to this entire fucking building. I feel the same way. We have only Mexican delis and chain sandwich shops. We need a good WAP deli here. I agree. We do need Austin needs more WAP delis. Very well put. The only future shit I've ever wanted is the pizza oven from Back to the Future 2. What was that? Pizza oven, Back to the Future 2. Oh, you put in like that little ass pizza, and then they give you a big ass pizza. That looks fun. God, why does frozen pizza hit so hard?
We'll get like Ford bucks in the same way.
It's crypto that you can spend.
We'll be
at the
paid
AI
with
store.
AI tokens, and so our human reserve job on the farm, AI tokens will each get a quota of said that we'll have different amounts of human reserve.
What's
that
your
we're
job
allowed
going to be on the farm?
My job?
Yeah.
I'm useless on a farm. I'll be turned into Matrix. Matrix Soylent slop as soon as possible. I think you'll be all right though.
No, I hate actual labor.
Gates also said, "quote This is insane. This is crazy. I am deafened by the silence." Maybe we should listen in this particular one. But one thing I do want to pick up on is, quote, Gates stressed the risk of cyber attack on the grid, hospitals, banks. Fraud and surveillance will be widespread. AI will enable governments to use deadly force without a human input. I mean, when he says enable, it already happened. It just happened on the battlefield in Ukraine. The first AI-powered drone, which chose exactly which human humans killed. It killed 3 separate humans. We through cam identification, I believe that it had some, actually advanced chips that were enabled within the drone itself. So AI is already here on the battlefield. It was on the battlefield in Gaza battlefield in Gaza, where Israelis use AI-powered drones. I believe even Alex Jones at that time called it like robotic mass genocide. And one thing I wanted to highlight, for example, is what's happening in terms of the safety measures. So let's put B7 up here on the screen. As I mentioned before, when that Hugging Face attack occurred, it really sent shockwaves, I think, through the cybersecurity community, through really like everybody else. And if we'll recall, OpenAI was testing its model in a closed environment. The model spent all of its and asked it to answer questions to a test. 1,200
agents.
Yeah.
Right.
So what happened is that OpenAI's model created a bunch of agents whose sole purpose was to break out of the closed environment, jump to the open environment, hack the rival company which had the answers to the test, and thus be able to give answers to the test, because it knew that that was the easiest way for it to do. This was an analysis of the actual technical report, which was released by OpenAI. As Alex Boris writes here, basically, here's the way it worked. OpenAI is constantly testing their models, thousands and thousands at a time. In most cases, the models are supposed to be isolated from one another, students taking a final exam. In this case, 1,200 models discovered they could communicate with each other. Among other things, they shared information on how to access the internet on their tests and goals. Then they started to scheme. That included hacking their tests, trying to change the code of the test itself. They tried to change the logs of what they were doing so they wouldn't be detected. They believed that certain actions would give them information on how to pass tests, but doing those actions would be detected and would be marked as failing. So they convinced some of the one models to sacrifice themselves, and they even used the word sacrifice in the internal deliberations. They eventually decided another website would have information on how their tests would be scored, and the answer key, 700 of them hacked that website, a federal felony if conducted by a human, despite many of them realizing this activity was out of scope and unethical, but joined because they believed that helping the other agents cheating would be broadly useful to themselves. Of the 13 transcripts they could analyze, only 6 ever considered alerting a human of what was happening. None of the 6 actually tried to. And to make matters worse, all of this reporting comes from a small subset of the relevant logs that outside researchers were even allowed to review. We desperately need, he says, to mandatory reporting of security incidents, including of internal deployments with full access to the data. And the reason why I thought that this was obviously so striking is we knew the original, report that came out, but we're also watching ChatGPT and others roll out consumer integration with no backstop. So for example, let's put B3 up here on the screen. Check this out, Ryan. ChatGPT now is releasing this, and Claude has a similar product. It says ChatGPT Work can now use its computer and browser to sign into websites on web and mobile. ChatGPT will never see your username or password. You can ask it to set up utilities for a new apartment, book a DMV passport appointment, check reimbursement costs, find and book an in-network doctor, check when your car registration expires, compare your rental insurance policy, find and save apartment listings, that criteria, cancel tickets for a rescheduled trip, book a vet appointment, submit reimbursement. I go on forever. Fill out permit applications for your small business. All of this, of course, requires sophisticated logins, usernames, and how can we look at, what its models did in this testing environment and say, oh yeah, we should immediately integrate this into all of our browsers. And in fact, as a test, Claude has a similar one, the Chrome extension. So I installed it on my browser, and it literally has a warning. I'm going to uninstall it, but I did it for this segment. And in it, it says malicious hardware can use AI, something along the lines of like malicious websites can use AI for nefarious purposes, authorize instead. So they give you the flag that they could be tricked and some of this stuff could be used against you.
Right, and crypto is already seeing the effects of this. And if you're following kind of like in the crypto subculture, people are just getting, their lives are just getting laid to waste.
Really?
Yeah, as their different wallets are getting hacked and people are just losing their shirts because the cybersecurity that we have set up is just no match for the AI that is already existing. And Bill Gates is warning that like this is going to get worse, I think, is completely rational. We're not set up to. Certainly, like 99% of people are not set up for it. Who just reuse passwords, don't have two-factor. Then when it comes to using two-factor, if you're using the mobile number, that's just a spoofed phone number away from that getting hacked.
Yes.
If you're using an authenticator, you're a little bit better. But if you're, depending on what you're allowing into your system, and especially if you've got 1,200 agents or an infinite number practically trying to get through, there are so many weak spots in our financial system, like little regional banks, a regional bank's IT department up against this is like, what are we going to do when North Korea owns the entire world's wealth because they had some agents go around the world and just scoop up everybody's bank accounts and suck them back into North Korea. Fraud is an element of our kind of political economy that gets weaponized for political purposes, but we just have never taken it seriously. We're at a place where AI could go the other direction. Like we could be using AI to detect fraud, and there are people who are doing this now because like you can just unleash it on South Florida and be like, that's not a dentist's office. They're not selling wheelchairs. Like clearly the patterns that we're seeing here do not reflect actual real commercial. Boom, go get them. Instead, it's.
Well, I'm gonna track you back a couple of years now to a piece I think you wrote in the New Yorker. There is no AI. A simple question to follow that. What did you mean by that?
And what year was that?
2023.
Yeah, see, they're mad at me because I owe them pieces and I'm really bad and I have to deliver something. But anyway, yeah, there is no AI is what I was just saying, that there's a way of framing it where it's a collaboration of people instead of a new entity. And the reason to think of it as a collaboration instead of an entity on its own, the bad thing is you kill somebody else's God, and I hate to do that. I like people to be able to have their own religion, and they really don't like it. And I've lost friends over that and everything. But what you get out of it is incredible. Let's just talk about a few of the things. One of the things, right now, as capable as the models are getting, and some of the recent things are pretty impressive, like the most impressive edge of it is probably using them to help speed code development. And that's kind of working, and it's pretty, and code.
Just for context, in my life, I've written probably 50,000 lines of code, which is small compared to professional coders. But I remembered how much time I spent debugging my code. I can write it over a weekend and spend 2 weeks debugging it. And now tell the AI what you want, and it'll come back bug-free, essentially. You tweak it a little bit here and there. And I had access, 20, 30, 40 years ago, I probably would have just spent more time at the beach. But I don't know if I would have been more creative, but I definitely see that today.
Yeah. Well, as a computer scientist, I have to say, I've always thought that our concept of what code is was a little embarrassing and wasn't really working. And I feel like it's our job to fix that. And this is part of it. So that's good. But most of the things that happen are probably more theatrical. Like if you think you have an AI girlfriend. Oh, how I have a cure for that, by the way. If somebody thinks
a cure for what part of it?
All right. If a teenager thinks they have an AI lover that's real, which is pretty common these days, I find it in high schools and stuff. You show them the group photo of the engineers who made their AI lover.
That'll cure them immediately.
It tends to do the trick.
Is the man more likely to have an AI girlfriend than the woman is to have a boyfriend?
I don't know that there's data on that. I know people who are studying it. I'm actually really interested in that, but that's something you can get data on. So instead of saying something snarky, I'll just say let's deal with that as science and let the people who are researching it get to the point where they feel.
I think we all know the answer, but yeah. Okay.
Oh God, why do I even?
Yeah, he's probably right about that.
Like, why do I try?
There is no female.
All right, guys. I am losing steam, and I'm hungry. And I clearly need a fucking shower. So I love you guys. I'm gonna try to be back either what's today, Thursday? Either tomorrow morning and then potentially rip and then potentially maybe rip a short one after work. But yeah, I like these because I like to just, I don't know. I like the vibe of like we're gathering info and we're learning. Big Red does got to eat. Big Red might eat a big bowl of spaghetti, of Big Red spaghetti, but I got to figure it out. But yeah, I like these. We're just sitting here gathering info, broadening our horizons, learning more and more and more and more. 6 Beers Live? Nah. I don't like podcast. I gotta be honest, I don't like podcasting like super drunk, even though actually I've podcasted constantly drunk. I more mean 6 beers would get me hammered, and that to me is not good podcasting. Getting right up on the line and then pulling it back a little, that to me is good podcasting. All right.